What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Prospect Recap. I'm your host, James Ivy Williams, founder and CEO of Between the Lines Sports. And today I have several of my international evaluators with me today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, starting with Nnaji.
Hey everyone, I'm Yanni, Yonatan, if you want to say it the longer way. I'm a regional analyst in the Canada region and international prospect as well, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Next up, Alan.
Appreciate it, James. Always a good time always being on here talking about basketball. But yeah, my name is Alan Alcantar. You guys probably seen me on these videos before, just helping the guys run stuff and make sure that they know everything they need to know, prepared for draft day, prepared for even their future in basketball and sports. So,
And finally, Adolfo.
I'm Adolfo Romero, international scout from Spain. I've been watching all these guys, and I saw a lot of potential, but there is a lot of work behind them.
All right, thanks, Adolfo. So, guys, this is what we're going to do this time. Since this is an entire international call, I am not going to butcher anyone's names. So I'm going to throw it to Alan and let him do the intro of the five guys that we're going to cover on this call, and then we will jump right in.
I appreciate it, James. So yeah, definitely to start off, we are going from our bottom of the order to top of the order on our current mock draft list. So we will be starting off with number 58, Bilal Coulilbaly, then moving up to number 45, James Nnaji, then number 42, Nicola Jurisic, then number 35, Leonard Miller, and number
33,
Ryan Rupert.
Thank you, Alan. I really appreciate that because I could not have done that at all. So we're going to jump right in. And Alan, you are up first with Bilal.
Yeah, no, definitely. So first thing that you notice watching Bilal Coulilbaly, whether it was in the U21 league in France, or whether it's currently right now in the French Betclic LNB Pro A League, you notice right away, like he just has a really transferable skill set, whether it be on the catch and shoot, being able to drive, having vision while driving downhill, noticing certain plays where all his guys are around him. And really the biggest thing that surprises me at his age is there's really no wasted movement. I mean, he was killing it at the U21 stage, obviously scoring 30, I believe it was 29 points a game, just like having ridiculous usage and ridiculous production, getting humbled a little bit in the highest level of the French top tier domestic league. But now I think he's really found his footing. He's not the type of guy that's going to go ahead and be outshined by anyone else. He knows his role. At the same time, you still look at the box score, you look at the game film, and you see, wow, this kid actually has like a legit NBA style shooting form. Like this kid actually has an NBA style awareness that I think is just going to be able to match perfectly to what the game is now, really at the highest level here in the league. Really the only caveats I can say with his game would be the shooting needs to improve. And when you watch the shooting, nothing fundamental or in the mechanical form is wrong. He does need to get a little bit more of a jumper though, and use more of his body, just because even with being 6'6", 6'7", and having a 6'9.5" plus wingspan, most NBA guys are going to be able to clean that up. So he'll be able to have to include that. The athleticism is there. He'll get stronger as time goes on. Yes, he is, a more leaner guy now, but I don't, see him necessarily being weak or anything of that nature. I think he'll be able to naturally fill out his form. And also the biggest thing is just that 3-and-D kind of concept, as well as like the whole kind of awareness of being able to not just drive the ball or handle the ball, but at the same time understand where his teammates are in order to just create offense, no matter what, whether he's a scoring attacker or whether he is actually, kind of like that decoy, kind of just playmaking. I think he's going to fit in very well with any NBA team. And, he just has all the skill sets of what you want a wing, 3-and-D wing nowadays to be.
Tell me this. So I know you said that he has to develop more of a jumper. Are you just saying as far as like getting off the ground, using more legs? Tell me a little bit about the jumper, what it looks like.
On the catch and shoot, it's clean. I mean, the thing is, I would say all the motion is there except actually kind of getting a lift, which on catch and shoot, he's pretty good at creating enough space, on off-ball offense that he doesn't need to worry too much about that. More so, I would just say that definitely with coming off the dribble, creating his own space, he does kind of get a tendency to get a flatter shot that way. And I think it's because he's rushing it while still not having enough of a leap, vertical in his base to be able to get more of an angle on it or an arch. So that's like the biggest aspect. But I mean, that's been one thing that people are saying is such a dramatic thing he needs to change, but I don't see it as any issue at all. I mean, the kid has probably one of the smoothest strokes I've seen like right now in international basketball. And that's not to speak badly about this international draft class, but not a lot of shooters or guys that I'm saying are right away, gonna become shooters at the next level. I think they're gonna have to be developed into that with this entire roster that we have in our mock list. But no, I mean, definitely, I just look at him and you kind of just see, it's a wing game nowadays, and there's wings galore in the NBA. You can't have enough of them, and I think Bilal is just another guy that's gonna be, a very transferable skill set on a team that he goes to, but also like based off everything that he does, he can either be the guy on your main scoring option, or he can be the guy just to create offense and be kind of like a secondary ball handler while still being a scoring option. So I just think his game is going to develop and flourish as he gets older and gets more experience in the highest league in the world.
All right, next up we've got Adolfo with James. Adolfo, it's on you.
Oh, he's like Bam Adebayo, but he needs to improve his shooting form. But you see him in live, and the shoulders are unbelievable for a player with 18 years old. He's a total beast. He can defend. He's improving his passing skills. He can play the pick and roll. He's a great player making screens for shooters or for the handler. He's an amazing prospect, but he needs to play. He was earning his minutes, and he was playing great. And even he was the starter center for FC Barcelona in last month. But after the Kings Cup, it changed. It really changes everything, because FC Barcelona needs to win.
Yeah.
And they are in a hard situation. So Nnaji is the one to be sacrificed in these cases. So he should keep playing more minutes, because Sertak Sanli, for example, is not playing good. Even Mike Toby is the worst season I can remember for him. So I really miss Nnaji on the court and in the clutch time even, because he can be decisive in the defense side. But well, coaches decide to play with veteran players, and that's all. I think maybe 25th pick, or between 25th and 40, I guess.
All right, thanks so much, Adolfo. Next up, we're going back to Alan with Nikola.
Yeah, definitely. So Nicola Dulersich, he is an interesting player in today's NBA just because of his IQ offensively is just amazing. And I think when you see another guy that's like 6'8", that can handle the ball so well, having a tight handle, being able to really show spin moves, counters with ease, and having that kind of footwork at that size. And also, he's not skinny either. He's about 200 pounds, 215 pounds. So he has a good chunk of meat on him to complement also his height. But really, even then, with the shooting still being something of a question as far as him having to improve that, I do like the confidence off the dribble, especially like just kind of pulling up to his spots on beyond the arc. But really, it's kind of just that fact, even though he's not a high volume, high efficiency 3-point shooter, the fact that he can attack the rim at any angle and it has the ability to really score at the rim with such a nice rim packaging finish, I think really makes a lot of sense on why a lot of teams are intrigued by him and what he can bring. Because I mean, he perfectly just kind of mirrors what you want in kind of a ball handler at 6'8" nowadays in the league. You know, he's a perfect positional defender. He can guard his position for the most part, but especially where he positions himself on off-ball defense and being able to cut off passing lanes and really kind of read those certain eye movements that certain guys are making to be able to understand like how the play is probably going to develop. He's so good at picking that apart and being able to turn that into offense. So I think there's a lot to like in him and in his game, especially when you see the size. It kind of like just all, matches to something that you would want. He's an efficient pick and roll scorer and distributor. So I think he's kind of one of those guys, again, plug him in. He can really make a difference anywhere. It's really, again, more of show, especially with him, making sure that shooting motion is better, a little bit more fundamentally. The shot is kind of flat. It's not horrific as the numbers are going to suggest, shooting 27% in the ABA league, but I think there's something there to work with. It's not a broken shot. It's not a broken flaw in his mechanics. It's just really more so something that needs to be developed on his sense. But I mean, everything else he brings to the table with being able to score at all three levels of the post, having a crazy rim finishing package, all the handles at 6'8", I think a lot of guys are going to love that for sure. And I think it's definitely what makes him such an intriguing prospect, regardless how big the project's going to be with him.
Tell me this, athletically, where does he fall? Is he a high level athlete? Is he an average athlete? Is he below average athlete? Like, is he more skilled than that? You know, like tell me about that a little bit.
He doesn't have, let's say, like the NBA level athleticism per se. Like he's not like a quick burst, quick twitch type of athlete. Really with him, I would say it's a lot of hustle, but he uses his length really well. When he's running the floor, whether it's on the transition or handling the ball, he does a really good job of being able to stay in front of guys. I say it's a mix of, positional kind of like awareness and spatial awareness combined with he is an athlete at 6'8". Like he is a guy that can dunk. It's because of his length. When he gets close to the rim, you have to kind of like be aware of that on transitions. He's still a lob threat. So I think that's kind of something that can be, again, further developed at NBA level to just kind of suit his needs. But I think, again, just the footwork and the dribbling ability with his size, it just kind of makes sense as to why people are so intrigued with him and why they want to go ahead and be able to, see if he can add a lot of contribution to their offense and their attack.
All right, good stuff, Alan. Next up, we're going to Nnaji with Leonard Miller. Go ahead, Nnaji.
Yes, Leonard Miller. I'm excited to talk about him. I've been pushing him hard on the mock draft, but he could only get as high as 35. So here's the case with Leonard Miller, my fellow Canadian. He's 6'10", 6'11", with a 7'3" wingspan, and has a really unique skill set. And just when you see him play, the first thing that stands out is kind of the way he moves, because it's very herky-jerky, awkward at 6'6", 11" but it somehow works. That's the thing. It's one thing that's very impressive with him as well is his improvement from the G League, from where he was in high school to the G League Ignite now. In high school, he was kind of like the guy just responsible for doing everything, taking whatever shots he wants. And G League Ignite did a really good job of kind of confining him in a very specific role. And he's actually played some center as well, whereas he's usually more of a Swiss Army knife forward kind of thing on offense. And with that being said, like he's very good on the roll, finishing at the rim. He's a sneaky good rim protector, even though he is very raw fundamentally on the defensive end. I think a lot of it is correctable because he's improved throughout the year. Like at the start of the year, he was a kind of a mess when it came to rim protection and stuff like that. And now he's a lot better at that. His perimeter defense still needs a lot of work, but then again, at his size, who knows how much he'll really have to defend on the perimeter. And given that he came from a league that wasn't as highly touted and regarded, that he has a lot of room to improve there. And with that being said, he's also a very good offensive rebounder and rebounder in general, where he pushes a fast break. He's averaging about 3 offensive rebounds per game and just like aggressively finishing back, plays good in the dunker spot. It just shows that even though he was the guy, he's now willing to do all the little things that he didn't have to do in the past. And it shows the willingness to learn there. So given that he's young, only 19 years old, he has a lot of room for growth for that. And I didn't even get to his main strength, which is his playmaking on the open court. So he's a grab and go big man. With his herky-jerky movements, which look really awkward and confusing, he somehow always finds the right guys. I've seen plays like the other day I was watching him play. He missed someone missed a shot. He grabbed an offensive rebound and kind of like spun and threw it to the open shooter for an open 3-point shot. And it was just really impressive how quickly he reacted to that. So he's definitely not a ball stopper and keeps an offense going, which teams definitely love to have, and you can't have enough of at his size. Along with his defense, his jump shot has a lot of tweaks it has to make. Right now, he shoots kind of in front of his face. It's a little bit of a push shot. He seems comfortable on the catch and shoot, but overall, it needs a lot of reworking. So that is kind of the gist with Leonard Miller.
Okay, good stuff. So Leonard is a guy I've seen a bunch, obviously from high school, AAU, and now G League Ignite. I think that the herky jerky is probably the best way. I was watching some film just to kind of get caught up with him a little bit today before the call, and you notice it. It's really like it's one of those things that, like, as a basketball person, you notice, but I wasn't even thinking about it in that way until you just said the herky jerky aspect. I think the playmaking is super impressive. I think his ability to just pass, and that was one of the comps that we had last year for him was a comp to Lamar Odom, because Lamar was very much herky jerky, very much a playmaking long forward that can kind of do a little bit of everything, and then kind of developed into one of those guys that rebounded, defended, just did whatever was necessary for him to kind of be on the court. And watching Leonard now playing, especially playing with Scoot, who's getting so much attention, rightfully so. But you see that, like, offensive rebound, he crashes the board. He's a live, active body, offensive glass kind of stuff. I think he probably could guard 1 through 5, to be honest. He sits down in his stance, he moves. I mean, he again, we talk about this all the time. We're not expecting a 6'11" guy to stay in front of a guard, but he moves his feet and he does have really good recovery speed based on what I saw again today when I was watching film on him. So I'm not really like, I see Leonard moving up, to be honest. I see Leonard moving up. I think the size, the ability to push in transition is going to be so important. Not a ball stopper, being able to keep the ball moving, being active, just securing extra possessions are all things I think are going to be super important for him. But yeah, so I like Leonard Miller at 35 with the great possibility to move up and maybe into the first round, as Nnaji has been pushing him hard. So, but yeah, all right. Last but not least, we're going to move on to Ryan, and Adolfo is back to you.
Ryan Rupert, he just ended the season, and well, he's 18 years old. He has the potential. I think he has the potential, but he needs to work a lot of. He can be a role player because he has long arms. He has physical skills. He needs to define himself playing, and after that, then I think he can make the jump. But he needs more time in the kitchen, I think.
Okay, I got you.
He's playing in New Zealand and the Australian league. One thing that I liked from Australia is that they are playing in a pace more similar for the NBA than in Europe. But if I'm not wrong, Rupert is represented by Rasnatovic. At least he was in Europe. So he's going to be in the 15th pick or something like that.
That's how it works sometimes. There's some agents have so much influence that it doesn't matter what the player does or doesn't do. They go where the agent pretty much, the agent makes it happen. The agent makes it happen for sure. Adolfo, great stuff as always. Just really excited about having Adolfo in Europe, Nnaji in Canada, Alan being such a well-versed international evaluator. This has been great for me because, again, I want people to see what we do and see how important, how we take these things serious, and how important it is for us to really get things right, and not to really be solely focused on just the United States, because majority of guys will be drafted from here, but there's going to be prospects that are coming from other places, and we're still probably missing some guys, right? But to have a feel and have an understanding for who these guys are, that's why I felt it was really important to have an international week where we just can kind of cover those guys, and we'll continue to cover them throughout the process, and we'll have a guy here or there that we highlight. But I really wanted to focus on 5 guys that are international prospects that need some love too, just overall. So that's why you see our videos that we put on our social media, things like that. It's important just to kind of highlight these guys because they have skill sets, they have talent, and people need to know about them. The thing for me when I was a kid, I remember you see somebody like, well, who is that? You know the college guys as a kid, but you didn't know who any of the international guys were. And it almost felt like you were at a concert and your favorite singer sings a song that no one knows. This is what it felt like. It's what it feels like. And so now we're in a place now where we know the song. We know the song. We know who they are. We know that we know their game. And that's the cool thing about what we do now, is that we really are. Nnaji said this off air, but like we're
scaling up.
We're scaling up, and so with our ability to scale up, we have a wider net, and we have people to cover that net. So as always, guys, this is fun. Al, I'm going to give it back to you real quick so you can review who we covered again, because I don't want to butcher anybody's names, and then we will close it out.
Yeah, definitely. So that concludes the prospect recap we've had for this week for our international guys on our mock draft list. Starting with Bilal Coulilbaly, who we have slated at number 58, James Nnaji, who we have slated at number 45, Nicola Jurisic, who we have slated at number 42, Leonard Miller, who we have slated at number 35, and Ryan Rupert, who we have slated at 33.
Yes, sir. And that's it. That's a wrap. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to another prospect recap. Stay tuned for more content just like this. Follow us on social media at BTL Hoops and visit the website www.btlhoops.org. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.